within the 90 days when you quit porn, you will have many temptations, many urges. But there is one final thing that you have to overcome before actually seeing all of the benefits, and that is flatlines. Flatlines are a thing where you feel numb and you feel non-sexual. This could last for days or even weeks. I've seen guys between 2 to 7 days. That's the usual amounts. Obviously, this is biased because I helped them get over the flatline. But by me sharing this knowledge with you as well, my hope is that you will also be able to recover from the flatline faster. One thing that's very important to understand is there's nothing wrong with you when you have the flatline. It usually happens around day 14, or maybe day 21, third or second week of the streak. But it's always good to focus on yourself and not to worry about like, hey, I'm not getting the feelings that I usually get. Your senses are like recalibrating. You've watched porn for so long and it completely shifted the way that you perceive the world. And so now what's going on is your body needs to recalibrate to the new habit of you not being exposed to insane amounts of dopamine. And this takes some time. Just give it some time and don't worry about it. And most certainly, you do not need to test if your dick still works by looking at women in like bikinis on the internet. Don't do that. I've done that before, It's not a good idea. It will kind of ruin your streak. Potentially you will relapse, but even best case scenario, what happened to me is like after that I started having urges again. And so that was completely pointless and it's definitely a big mistake to avoid. I've been through flatlines multiple times myself, and the people I coach usually go through it as well. However, I noticed a couple of differences between people who have flatlines that last for weeks versus people who have their flatline and it's gonna like 2 or 3 days. The biggest difference is the guys who get through the flatlines easily are the ones who are doing cardio workouts. Long cardio sessions, maybe they are athletes or they are taking the gym very seriously and they are in the process of cutting down. And a way to actually fix the flatline is to take very, very long walks. By long, I mean multiple hours. And that way you will speed up the process. You cannot avoid the flatline, but you can get over it quickly. So the best tools do cardio workout, and the second is to walk outside in the nature for about 2 to 3 hours. You can do this once or multiple times because this will kind of reset your expectations and your emotional system a little bit, and it will make your flatline go way faster. Also, an important thing to keep in mind is not to worry about the flatline. It will go away. There's not much you can do about it if you're doing your cardios every day. Maybe you're running for like 20 minutes. This isn't actually a curse. It's not something that you should be too bothered about. Take it as an opportunity to really, really invest in yourself and focus on the things that you have to do. This is the time to grind, basically. You will not notice the girls that are around you. You will not feel sexual urges. Maybe if you have a girlfriend, she will not be in your head as like sexually as much. Although people who have girlfriends usually not have the flatline for that long. And so in this time, you can really, really grind on what you have to do. If you have a purpose, if you have a task, exams coming up, and going to the gym consistently. And the number one thing to focus on during the flatline period is really fixing your sleep, because you are non-sexual in that moment for a couple of days. And although it might feel weird, this is a great time to reset your sleep to an actual good sleep schedule. The sleep is the number one thing when it comes to anything in life. If you don't sleep well, if you don't sleep consistently, you're not gonna live happily. It's just a fact. And one thing that's very interesting about sleep is the sooner you wake up, the happier you will be. Obviously, there is a limit to this, but during the summer, I woke up every day at 5:30 for about 60 days straight. And my happiness was extremely like it was through the roof, no questions. And now I'm at a dorm, so there are a lot of like night activities here. Plus I got the client from NA, North America, and I'm waking up usually at 9:30. Now it's even worse. And honestly, I feel a lot worse than when I was waking up at 5:30. So I'm actually gonna get on my stuff. I'm gonna sort out my own things before continuing like giving advice and stuff. Like, I gotta take responsibility of my environment, of my habits first, because I wouldn't be able to give advice to others if I wasn't already sorted, you know? And I feel like I'm not sorted well enough with the sleep. I at least have to get back to the original schedule of 1:30 a.m. to 9:30. But I would much prefer like an earlier wake time. The problem with that is people are very noisy here. And so if I wake up at like 5:30, which I've done before, I always get sleep deprived because I can't go to sleep properly. Your body clock usually adjusts to the people that are around you. So it's very hard to go to bed at like 10 when everybody's still awake and they're large. They're larger than life. They're talking. People are talking outside and people are studying and everything's going on. It's hard to go to bed like that, man. And I usually just wake up sleep deprived at 5:30. So I stopped doing that, but I have to find like a middle way. Around 7 a.m. would be nice. 6:45 maybe. Really, the earlier you wake up, the better it is, because the less you have to rush through the day. Waking up at 9:30 like completely sucks because you're in the middle of everything already, and you don't really have time to embrace the day that's coming. Right. So I am rushing to the gym now. All right, guys. So let me know how your situation is. What day are you on the 90-day challenge? And I think I came up with a really good way to measure your streaks, because counting the days is unhealthy, but you have to get to 90. So it's a bit of a mind fuck. But what I came up with is you can have the streaks, whatever. You can count the days to 90, but if you relapse, you lose the streak that you're counting. So it's like if I were to relapse tomorrow, I would take off the 90-day streak that I was in. And so that way, it's not like if you relapse, you lose everything, all the progress via the numbers. It better represents how much time you lose. I think this is the best way to kind of measure this. But maybe this is more like for people who are doing triple-digit streaks. Because for myself as well, like it's kind of cringe to write that I am on day 1100 when I know I've relapsed last winter. Last winter. That's a story for another time. But I tried to check if my brain has healed enough so I can like masturbate without porn. And long story short, it wasn't. So I relapsed. And so anyway, that's behind me. I'm doing semen retention now. It's whatever. But so I'm definitely not on like 1100. I did start Nofap 1100 days ago. That's why I have the title as day 1100. And yeah, I think that would be a better way to compete, because it's a shit competition when everyone's losing. You want to have some people who are winning. And I feel like when you have this like hardcore like nightmare Nofap system where you get to day 1000 and you watch porn once and then it's 0, I think that doesn't really spark competition amongst men. And I love competing, and I would love some other people to have like also to join in with me and do these long streaks and document how things are going. And yeah, I think it's just really wholesome, and it spreads awareness of how much porn can fuck your life up and how much better it is when you're off porn. When I was watching porn, I was like completely gone. I was doing esports, something that I wasn't successful in. I was kind of dreaming through the day. I wasn't even playing enough. I was watching movies. I was binge watching shit. And now, like 3-4 years after starting Nofap, it's like I'm working the whole day. I have a business that's growing. I am at university. I'm, girls everywhere. Like I had girlfriends, but I went through the whole cycle of, all right, let's get some girls. then let's have a girlfriend, and then realizing that, hey, maybe I just want more quality girls and I would rather work for a couple of years, like sacrifice time from my life so I can have a much better quality relationship with a much better quality women. Yeah. And so now I'm doing that. So I guess this should be also a documentation of that. Yeah. All right. See you.